would you say you feel like a legend?
Yeah.
And like
That's cocky. I feel like there's
Calm
no
down.
way. There's no way around not
And
sounding
I
cocky.
do mean it in a cocky way.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
good.
think that's fair.
Own it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It could be.
Yes, I would say that.
How
I
would
am
you
a
say-
cocky person?
What about you is so legendary? Harder question. That's a harder. That one's a thinker.
Chismoso. 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 Chismoso.
let's actually begin. Do you wanna...
Hello, this is the Chismoso Podcast. I'm your
Yes.
host, Nina Damsky.
I made this joke earlier. I made the joke that was Stephen Armstrong, but I don't feel like I can do it again.
No. This is
just,
Nathaniel.
But I made it. I kind of just did make it again.
You have heard
did a really
Nathaniel's
much
voice,
lazier
and
version
this
of
is
it.
the first time you've seen his face.
Yeah, you've heard my voice many times.
How come that you guys
Nathaniel's-
would do like a three-way?
It's just
I
too
mean,
many.
in the podcast.
Oh, right.
Are you
Answer though.
It's too much.
Too many. Got it.
we don't quite have the proper equipment yet
Do you like to
for
be,
that kind of
do you
for
like
that kind
to
of
be
thing.
more of the like BTS, like behind the scenes? Like, are you like producer? Do you guys want to introduce me or no?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I guess so. Today we have Bailey Tait, a good friend of ours, a fantastic actress,
and a legend.
and a legend among human beings.
Would you say that you would you
Universe.
and not in like a cocky way, but would you say you feel like a legend?
Yeah.
And like
That's cocky. I feel like there's
Calm
no
down.
way. There's no way around not
And
sounding
I
cocky.
do mean it in a cocky way.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think
Okay,
I
good.
think that's fair.
own it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It could be.
Yes, I would say that.
How
I
would
am
you
a
say-
cocky person?
What about you is so legendary? Harder question. That's a harder. That one's a thinker.
I mean, I would say.
Put you on the spot already.
Jeez.
What's
I think that there is a lot about me that is extremely authentic. And I think I stay true to that.
great?
Yeah.
Anyways,
Like I have
So
my whole-
yeah, so
Anyways,
legendary.
moving on from all that.
What a
Legendary.
general question.
Okay, okay.
That is a
Fuck
So
very
you.
let's
broad
give some
question.
So this is So Bailey you're an actress, but you also write.
I do.
And what would you say is more of your main passion if you had to pick?
I definitely acting.
Okay,
That's
how long
what-
have you wanted
that's
to be an actress?
Since I was born.
Since you were born,
you
you were
were-
born
Since
acting,
I was
Came
in
out.
the womb.
theater
I
or
was
film
ready.
or all of it.
I mean, I just want to do film, definitely TV and film, mostly film. And then I think one day I would love to go back to doing theater. In general, 'cause I did
Who
theater in
are
high school,
who are
you
your
know?
biggest inspirations? Like, who are some of your favorite
Ugh.
people? Who do you look up to a lot?
Other than us.
Yeah. Besides
You guys.
besides
me
me, Steven.
and Steven.
I would say that I have like a very strong, I guess, I feel a connection to Brittany Murphy.
Brittany
Yeah.
Murphy.
I like.
You're like obsessed. She's your
I know.
phone
She's
screen.
my phone.
She's
Let me
your
see.
phone screen. This is a sad obsession.
Wow.
Show the camera.
It's not sad.
It's
I just
sad.
think I can
She's
be
had
the
such a sad
reincarnate-
life.
Yeah, but she was incredible. and
Also,
she
you
was
were
a
alive
very-
when she died. I'm
I
pretty
was.
sure.
Of course I was. She died in like.
Yeah, but you said reincarnation.
Yeah, acting wise.
Okay, I see.
So what would you say it is about Brittany Murphy that you connect to?
I think that she is a person that is so specific in everything she does.
Yeah.
Like she stands out in everything. Like in Clueless,
Totally.
you Cher is the cool character in it, but you like for some reason glom onto this like cute little raspy voice. Like she steals scenes. Like
Yeah.
she does in her
Yeah.
own way, and she's clumsy and endearing, and you know.
So what's your favorite era? Would you say that? I'm imagining it's like 90s, early 2000s, or now?
Like for movies or just in general?
Just like
First let's say movies, then in general.
Okay.
Okay, for movies, I mean, what I'm inspired by most was probably like things I watched when I was younger. So I would say like 2000s movies.
Oh, yeah?
Are the first movies that I watched where I was like, oh, I can be in these.
So like
I
what?
could do this.
So Clueless, you mentioned. What are some of the
Yeah.
other faves?
I mean, there were so many. I was growing up when Dakota Fanning was a thing, so I would see her in movies and be like, oh, I.
She was in that movie because of Winn-Dixie, right?
Oh, that
Do you remember that movie?
Isn't
That
Anna
is
Sophia
that.
Robb?
I don't know, but
Maybe that.
Remember
Maybe.
Bridge to Terabithia?
Yes.
that shit was
Oh.
sad. And
Did
that
you-
was- yeah,
did you
that's the
guys read
same
the book?
Oh my god, did
No,
I read
never.
that? I read that book so many times.
How do
and
you-
I cried every single
Are you a
time.
fan of Josh Hutcherson?
I was kind of a Josh
Were you-
Hutcherson fan.
Yeah. What about
I-
now
I
though?
had-
No, I mean, I
Was-
loved remember Zathura?
That was the
course.
shit.
Yeah.
Zathura.
I was in camp with that kid.
Is it Josh Hutcherson?
Yeah.
Wow, subtle flex.
He was
Wow.
yeah, no, it's no big
What do you want to
deal.
say to your good friend Josh Hutcherson?
I love
Shout
you.
out
I miss you, man.
Shout
Miss
out
you.
Josh
Miss
Hutcherson.
doing the
You
hacky
haven't-
sack
You
races.
haven't really gotten back to me. I write to you, but
It's your pen pal.
I'm just trying to relive those moments, those precious moments.
But
That's
no, I
funny.
wouldn't say I was I mean,
And
it was okay.
so, let's get some
What-
context onto Bailey's. So, where were you born?
Oh no. I was
Were
born-
you?
What?
Oh, this question. I know
Were
how to answer
you?
it.
Yeah, where are you
A
born?
place.
I was born in a
Oh,
place.
you
What
know.
year were you born?
1998.
98. Nice.
The year of the tiger.
Do you remember 9/11 or are you too young?
I remember it.
You do?
I was there.
My brother doesn't remember 9/11.
At
At
all?
all?
0.
That's
I-
weird.
He was born in 98 as well.
So I wouldn't say. I mean, I don't remember. I just remember the day because I remember.
Do you remember where you were?
driving around? Yeah, I was like leaving preschool or something, or like
Okay.
pre.
And what did you make of it at the time? Not to make this into like a 9/11 talk, but
I know. Why does it always go there? I also think it's like, why is that what people always ask you where you
where
were?
were you?
Yeah.
How do you feel about
Yeah,
it?
we're
You know,
like-
like
I feel
I
like
felt pretty
it's
good
like,
about 9/11.
I was in second grade. I was
What
playing
if I
with
was like-
Legos.
what if I was like, I don't see what the big
Well,
deal?
yeah,
I
was.
was like that when I was a kid. I remember feeling that way as a kid. I remember being like in kindergarten and being like, I don't get, because my parents also didn't tell me that any people died. I think because at the time they were like, I remember
Oh,
asking, I was like,
did
did anyone
you-
die? And they were like, no. And I was like, okay, then I don't
Super
get why we're making a big
convincing.
fucking deal about this whole thing. And I remember being,
Get over it. Get a job.
yeah, exactly.
That's how I
Get a
felt. That's kind of
job.
how I felt too. I think I was like, oh my god. I was just always kind of more like, okay, now pay attention to me again.
My
Yeah.
parents
Back
were
on
like,
me.
my parents were like fucking like, they told me straight up. They're like, yeah, a bunch of people died, son.
Son.
Now go do your homework or you're next. Those Taliban, they don't like people who don't do their homework. Which is awful. It's so fucked.
It's true.
Can we not talk about 9/11 anymore? What do
Yeah, I
we
don't
think?
know, I don't
You were
know.
asking where I was.
Where were you
born.
born? What
Yeah,
year?
where were you
I was
born?
98.
born in Tarzana.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
So
What do you-
the-
shout out?
The Valley.
Are you a fan of the Valley?
I like being like, where are you from? Well, you can clearly tell.
Yeah, dude, you're.
When you meet me, you're like,
Like, oh, the
okay.
Valley.
Yeah, you're definitely a
I think
Valley
it's. I don't know.
girl
I like
vibes.
being a Valley girl.
Totally.
I like being from California a lot, and I
Yeah.
think as I got older as well, and like going to college in New York, I kind of realized that I liked California so much,
Oh, it's the best.
and like I think I've kind of embraced it even more in the past few years.
Totally.
Gotcha.
Like my vocal fry has gotten a lot more intense, I think.
So would you say, do you imagine yourself to, like base yourself in California for the rest, like, or are
That's
there
a
other
good
places you're like, oh, I kind of want to live there?
I have a few places that I would want to live throughout my life, and then I have a few places that I would just straight up want to retire to.
Like,
Yeah.
already
like where?
Retiring wise,
Yeah.
my number one's Prague.
Prague.
Oh yeah, we've talked about this
Yeah,
before.
Like my number one, I went in for my high school graduation present. I went
Oh,
to
yeah.
Europe. Yeah, you guys
you
know.
got, yeah.
How was that trip?
Yeah.
Anything
Yeah,
you want to like
anything
hash
to,
up?
yeah, anything worth mentioning?
on.
There's a
What-
swell
Come
time.
on.
I mean, like, what was like
I
the
felt
biggest?
like it was
Well,
probably
here.
boring.
What are the
Prague was
juiciest
probably just a
details? Just give us the
boring-
juiciest spark note details of that
That's
trip.
where I got an ass tattoo.
All right.
I think that's probably
Where
the
did you get the ass tattoo
juiciest
specifically, though?
on my ass.
No. Like, where did you get it? Like, not on your ass. Like, where was like? What city were you? When you're in Prague?
We were in Prague, and I remember it didn't look like a tattoo parlor. So we kind of walked up, and I was like, "Are we sure?" And my friend at the time was like, "Yeah, it's cool. Let's go. Like, we're good." And I was kind of
Yeah.
just like, "Okay." And we got there, and it was like just super duper Czech dude, like in the corner, like doesn't speak any English.
Yeah.
And scary looking, like so scary looking. And we basically were like, oh god, now that I think about it, it's like, yikes, that's so like two like American girls being like, hi, came to get an ass tattoo, like. And I remember he did it. He like barely spoke English. Did it, and at the end of it, he slapped both of our asses.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was kind of
When in
that's
Prague.
like a send off.
I mean, it was.
Or
I
was-
was into it.
Was he
so.
proud of his work?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he slapped
He was
where he
like-
tatted it.
Yeah. No, right, like right next to it. If he did that, that would.
That's
that'd
pretty
It would've hurt,
fucked
probably.
Like, he
up.
was like, boom, like, I don't know. Maybe that's just how he did it. Like, maybe that's
Yeah.
maybe that he always did.
But it
that.
didn't bother you.
No.
And did it? And
I liked
did it bother your
It made me
friends?
horny.
Yeah, you were like,
Both of us were like,
yes, please.
Yeah.
You were like tattoo us, but
but
with your penis.
with your penis.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I need a tattoo.
That's what
I need
we
a
said.
tattoo, but yeah.
Tattoo us with your dick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tip.
And he didn't understand.
No.
He didn't know
So we
what the
just
fuck
left.
you were on
yeah,
about.
so we were
He was
chilling.
like-
We just left. But yeah, no, I don't know how we got there.
What
but
do you wanna say? Just- if that guy's listening,
Yeah,
what do you wanna say to
what
him?
do you want to say to that guy now? Keep up
Check-
the good
Mr.
work.
Check ass slap ass tattoo man. What do you have
I
to say
would
to
say
him?
that, hey, great job, because this tattoo is like one of my best still.
We're
Like,
gonna link a
the-
picture of the tattoo.
Yeah.
No, I'll just show it right now.
Oh my god.
But yeah, Prague is a place that I would like to retire to one
So
day.
you want to retire to Prague because of just
Because
the
of
fond
that.
memories
Because
you
I'll,
have?
I'll
Yeah.
be looking for that man for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
so,
Exactly.
Yeah,
You know.
of course.
Another
He's-
place.
Do you think he's
New
still
Orleans.
at the same place?
Yeah,
Like, do you
prob-
remember
I
exactly where that
think
place
he's probably
is?
gonna die in that corner on that stool.
And you know where that
Wow.
place is? Like, could you go back and be like, hey,
no.
hey, I have something to show
Hey, I
you.
miss you.
During that whole trip, there was not a time when we were not under the influence of something.
Oh, of course.
Okay, what-
you're-
so what
and
was-
I mean,
So what were
you're
the
an
ju- like, what-
American in Europe? Like I feel like that's
So like,
and we
wha-
were just newly 18.
so what
we
kind
were
of
like,
drugs
just
were you?
gone
What kind of
wild.
things were you on? If you don't mind me asking.
It was mostly we were just binge drinking. I mean, it's like I was
Yeah.
on this trip, and it was like a Kentucky. It's like an Australian company.
And had you ever been outside of the country
No.
before?
Oh, that was your
Oh
first
no
time.
wait, sorry. No, actually, my stepdad had an art show in London once.
And can you
Okay.
can you just say who real fast who your stepdad is? Just we need the we need the
stepdad
clout.
Is, Risk.
need the
My
clout.
stepdad
We
is
need the
Risk
clout.
Rock at Risk Rock. Shout out.
Look him up.
What is he? What does he do? Tell us.
He does
is-
ass tattoos.
God.
He does
Oh,
he does
that's-
really good ones.
That's her other daddy.
He's a
Oh,
graffiti
God.
artist.
Did you? Okay, so were you? I imagine you were always like, oh, my stepdad's a graffiti artist. Like, that's really fucking cool.
Yeah, was that
Or
something?
were you
think
kind of just like,
that-
I'm not thinking about it? Because like I feel like maybe a bunch of people don't think about what their parents do until they're older.
I don't know. I think that it was weird. This sounds so, I don't know. My life was so weird growing up already that I don't think that it really registered.
So in what ways? Like,
Like
if-
there was already so much that was going on in my life that was like my family dynamic in general. Like my mom didn't have a very conventional job.
And where's your mom from? Is she also from the valley?
She's also from the valley.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
this is the valley. And
Valley
when
girls.
was she born? Like what?
1979.
Okay, so 79, almost 20 years later.
Yeah, she had me when she was
19.
She had me when 2 weeks before her 19th birthday.
Okay, cool.
That's
So
crazy.
y'all are like,
I cannot.
That's nuts, dude.
I can't even imagine now.
No, yeah,
Oh my god,
no
and
way.
I'm almost 24.
Yeah. That's
do you want to have
nuts.
kids? And if so, how many?
I go back and forth. I go back and forth a lot lately about the marriage thing.
Oh yeah, you say you don't want.
I
You don't
think
believe
I
in
want-
marriage.
Yeah, I don't think I want to get married anymore.
So let's go back to going to London for your first time
Yes.
out of the country
Yes.
with your stepdad Risk.
I remember, yes, with my stepdad Risk and my mom, and at the time I had only 2 younger sisters. And I remember I was so excited because they hooked us up, the museum hooked us up. They got us a sky couch.
Whoa.
So my first time out of the country, and I was on a sky couch.
What's a
And what is a sky
It's
couch?
like a literal, it's like first class, but it's like a literal couch. Like you're
On the plane?
Yes.
Oh, that's lit.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm gonna check the level. I just got really paranoid about the fact that it might have stopped recording.
You guys just keep talking. Does he do that?
Oh.
We're falling apart. We're falling apart.
Cut. Don't cut. We're in the middle of. We've done this before. I promise. I promise this is
feel
not our first
This is
podcast.
very professional.
So the museum puts you on a sky couch?
Yeah.
Yeah. So wait, hold on. Remind me. I
so-
wasn't listening. I was concerned about that. What is a sky couch?
It's like literally like like the couches in first class.
That's nuts.
Okay.
And you're sitting, and it's like 2 people share it, but it's a huge couch.
Oh,
and it
yeah.
converts and it goes back into a bed.
Yeah, I've seen
Ooh.
those before.
And it was like an 11-hour flight, I remember, or a 12-hour flight or whatever, and I was just straight G chilling.
Growing up watching like art be successful from your stepdad, how does that motivate you as an artist? Because
I think, well, in general, my real father is also an artist,
Mhm.
and they're pretty, like, my stepdad and my real dad are really close, and my real dad always did more like weird murals and paintings of like fucked up shit that people only think and don't like talk about.
Yeah.
And I think growing up and seeing that kind of like not only art all the time, but also like all this like not everything's a taboo. Like you're allowed to like
You can
don't
be
need to be
edgy.
so censored. Yeah, you're
Totally.
allowed to, you know, be yourself.
Yeah. So I guess no, but what would you say are two things that both your stepdad and your dad like? Would you say instilled in you as an
I
artist?
would say my dad always, when I was growing up, was always very adamant about being like, like you can do whatever you want to do. You
Right.
get to choose whatever you want to do.
Like, don't limit yourself.
And do not limit yourself. Like, just because I was always a very like stressed kid, and I think that I was a very stressed kid.
like anxious.
I feel like not
super-
much has changed.
Yeah, no, I'm still the same. It's gotten worse, but no, I was super stressed. So my dad always used to be very much like this is your present. This is like the present is your present right now. Like this
Yeah.
is it. So like you need to first of all stop living in a land of worry all the time and be present and be aware. But also like don't stress yourself out. Life is going to work out for you exactly how you want it to.
Yeah.
No
Totally.
matter what. Like
And you
can't fuck it up.
And both of them are just
Yeah.
like just living.
And they're just living proof.
examples
And
of that, which is
they
super
both
cool.
had like very, very challenging upbringings. They had a really hard time when they were
Mm-hmm.
teenagers, and like they persevered and got through all of that. And like, look, my dad's really happy now. Like he's fucking one of the most intelligent people I know and
Yeah.
ever will know in my
Yeah.
life. And like my stepdad is like, I mean, he's killing it. Like he's killing it. I
Yeah, totally.
can't lie. I
No,
mean,
yeah, he totally is.
he's pretty famous. I
Yeah,
would say
yeah.
he's pretty well known.
No, that's
and-
amazing.
but they're also just good people. I think that's the most important thing that I've learned from them is like.
Do
I-
you believe someone can be an artist and be an awful person? Or do you-
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you believe that someone? I was not. Sorry. Do you believe someone can be like a fantastic artist and be an awful person, or do you believe to be a fantastic artist you have to like have some part of you deep down that's like not shitty?
No,
I don't believe
I think that I think most of the people that we do idolize are pieces of shit.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I mean,
Like
John
who?
Lennon beat his
John-
kids. Like
I think
John Lennon is my
John
only
Lennon.
example. But
Well,
like,
yeah,
I mean, people were people we idolize are shitty.
I
Like,
feel like part of that comes from being desensitized once they become idolized. Though.
yes, that's a
I
big
feel
part
that's
of
a
it.
huge
I
part
agree.
of it.
I
It's like
totally
they're
agree with
not
that.
connected to reality, and so therefore they act and they're above the rules.
Yeah.
And
Same with
above-
Jim Morrison too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
He
of
fucking,
course.
you know.
Totally.
But I fully believe that. I mean, I think that there's also some sort of stigma around being like, oh, to be creative and to be this like, oh, you have to be brooding in your head and like fucked up. And it's like not really. Like
Totally.
I think that was a phase we all thought was cool because like I don't know.
Would you say you ever had like there's periods where you were brooding and in your head and
Oh
fucked up?
my god, I was probably the most annoying person in high school ever.
How so? Like
I found my journal when I was like 14 through 17, I guess, or 18. I was reading it and I was like, shut up. Like, shut the fuck
But what were
up.
some of the stuff you were saying?
I was just like, it was like fucking pity parties all the time. Like, it was just so.
But was it
like,
more
oh,
like-
woe is me?
That's what I'm
like,
saying. Was it more internal or was it more
very
external?
Very internal.
Like fuck all
I'm-
that shit, or is it
fuck-
more like fuck all this shit?
Both, actually.
Both?
I would say it's both.
Would
I
you
would
say? Sorry.
No,
keep
it's-
going.
I was I was mad at my mom, I guess, a lot of my life, like growing up. So I think that who's not mad at their parents growing up? But
Totally.
I was really mad at my mom, and we just butt heads, and like so it would be a lot of that. And then I'd look into myself and be like, well, also like you're like not good enough, and like you're blah blah blah, and like
Yeah.
all that
Yeah.
shit, you know. And
Totally.
I was super emo. Like super. I mean, I still am,
Yeah.
but
Well,
like
like,
super dramatic too.
What were some of your favorite like early like what was like some of the first cultural things that you attach your identity to? Like were you into punk when you were young or were you
That's a really good question. I would say I think that. I mean, at a really young age, it was like I was just really into musicals. Like I
Okay.
started with
Like
when
musical
I
theater?
was like a kid. Yeah, when I was like 5.
And you've always been a performer, right?
Yes.
Like since you were literally
Because I
you
got-
were in commercials as a baby.
I got my first agent when I was 2.
Damn.
So and I started doing print ads and stuff like that.
How
and
do they
then
find you at that age? How are they like,
I got
that's a good
lucky.
actor, baby?
I got lucky. My second cousin, my mom's cousin, Denise. Shout out Denise. She's still a producer and still a manager. So
Nice. Denise.
she like just saw me one day like doing something, I don't know, in the living room at one of like our Christmas dinners or whatever, I don't know, and she was like, you know, she clearly wants the spotlight on her, like you should think about I could represent her. So
That's
then
cool.
my mom was like, should she?
So is your mom like
I
one of those
found a
like
golden nugget.
like actor child moms?
No,
Where she was like,
but she definitely
My child needs this.
No, but she definitely. My mom was a dancer her whole life too. My mom was a performer.
Does
and
she still
stuff.
dance ever?
My
it-
mom, okay. Oh God, I love you, mom. My mom makes TikTok dances.
Are they good? Where
I
can
mean,
we, where
she's
can
a
we
great
follow
dancer.
them?
I'm
Can
not
we shout
shouting her
out?
out because she's my mom. Obviously, I'm gonna be like cringe, but
Yeah.
no, she's a really good dancer. They're really good.
What kind of dance did she do?
like? Have you seen a TikTok dance before? Because because one of those.
Okay.
Because like any one of those, like what Addison Rae does, my mom will do.
Gotcha.
Does
And
she have
she's-
clout?
No.
No.
Did
She
she ever
should,
did
though.
she
My
want
mom's-
clout? Like was she someone
I'm
who's like
sure she would love it.
Yeah.
like did she
We're
did
cut from
she's
the same cloth.
okay, so did your parents like did your stepdad and your dad did they want to be famous?
I don't think that my dad definitely not. I don't think that Kelly. I don't think that they either of them ever thought about it really. Like especially Kelly's just really humble and he's a pretty shy person.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've never asked him that, but I feel like that definitely wasn't the goal. He didn't think that was gonna be the outcome. Like he had a crazy. I mean, he ran away from home. Like he had a crazy life. He like
Damn.
ran away from home. He lived in Louisiana. Ran away from home and then like got a scholarship to USC for art.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so He
crazy.
went to school. Yeah. So I think that he was more just like hustling. That was his
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of. He didn't think about getting famous, and then I think the thing that really like put him on the map, I guess, was he had a clothing company in the early 2000s.
I did not know that.
Yeah, called Third Rail, and it was pretty much like guys who did like extreme sports
Skate and
would wear like
stuff?
skate or like
Yeah.
dirt bike, like it was like that kind of thing. And I was
Yeah.
actually on one of the shirts, and I was like little, and I was like doing devil horns.
Oh,
that's
cute.
fun.
Yeah, but that's what like put him on the map, I think. And that's when I first met him at the height of that, and it was like insane. He had this like crazy fucking warehouse that was like, there would be like bridges like dangling from the ceiling with no railing. You just like run across them, and there was like little pods, like where the offices were like treehouse pods, like.
Wow.
It was, and I was like
It's
4
like
or 5, and I was
startup
like,
vibes.
holy shit, yeah.
So you've always been surrounded by the arts.
Always. My grandma also, like, had a big hand in raising me, and she was an English professor, and she was really into writing, and I would always need to, like, I wasn't allowed to really watch a lot of TV. I had to, like, read books. That's what
So are you a big reader
I
still?
used to be. I sadly,
what were some of your
I've
favorites?
kind of fallen off. When I was I mean, I liked a lot of the like stereotypical things. Like in high school, like I loved Catcher in the Rye.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
That was a book. No, stop. Because I know.
Did you relate to Holden?
I know. No. But I was.
What's
so,
wrong with Catching the Rye though? You know, it's
Yeah,
it's
I
a classic,
mean,
isn't it?
Yeah,
is,
but
it's just like
It is
it's
there
so,
every
like,
every
get
there is
over
every
Yeah,
there is every
totally.
white man at the school does carry a
Yeah,
copy
exactly.
of that
And
book.
yeah,
Totally.
Exactly. And
That's
I
what
only,
they found when they shot Lennon.
well,
It's
th-
true. That is true.
That is the book.
It was that
Catcher
book.
in the
It's gonna be a
Rye.
callback to John Lennon.
Yeah, that's what we're really talking
Yeah.
about today.
Yeah.
No, I think I only read Catcher in the Rye at first because I was you're trying to be cool, like for boys. You're like, oh, like I know.
Like, I like Catcher in the Rye, too.
I was
exactly.
a Gatsby kid.
I loved Gatsby.
I was
loved
like
a great Gatsby.
so like, oh, I'm Gatsby. I have all these
I
parties.
was like very
and,
much like I'll be Daisy and
Yeah.
I was like
totally.
But what
I
about
was-
as a kid? Like, what kind of books did you like as a kid?
the
I
Magic
liked
Treehouse.
Magic Treehouse.
Are you-
I liked
are you
Junie
Harry
B.
Potter?
Jones. Oh
Oh.
my God, she was my bitch.
Junie B.
dude.
Jones?
She's the reason that I have an attitude problem. I think like Junie
Really?
B. Jones.
She taught you to be a
She
bitch.
taught me how to be a bitch. Be that bitch.
to be that
Yeah.
bitch. Yeah, that's so funny.
Did you like Harry Potter?
I did. My grandma read the Harry Potter books to me. I was a Twi freak.
You were a
I
Twi?
was-
Are you Team Edward or Team
yeah,
Jacob?
Team Edward or
I was
Jacob right
always
now for
Team
the
Edward.
record.
Oh, Team Edward forever.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, because let's
too.
be, we watched these movies again recently, and
You
it's
watched all of them recently?
We watched all of them. Me and my siblings.
That's
yeah.
hot. Did you really?
We did. It was
Oh, I
me.
wanted to-
It was it was really fun, and you actually like
I wasn't
going.
invited.
Yeah.
Yeah, you weren't invited.
okay.
Yeah, sorry about
Cleanest
that.
of invites.
Twilight.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. You guys watched Twilight?
We watched them, and I feel like being Team Edward and Jacob. Now, if you rewatch them, when's the last time you watched them? Has it been a while?
No.
Okay.
She watches them every
I watch
month.
them every night to go to bed.
Oh my god.
No,
So-
I
'cause-
watched them recently with my little sister Sunny, and now she's like.
Was it the first time she
it was
watched it?
her. No,
Yeah.
well,
Or, like,
yeah.
Yeah, like
well,
you
no,
were-
no. We had watched it for the first time. Like,
Which do you think is
a
the
year
best?
ago,
Okay,
Edward.
okay.
And then we watched it again recently.
And which do you think is the best? Which is the best movie?
Oh. I mean, everyone clowns
two,
on the
bro.
first one so much, but like is the OG.
It's the OG.
But I would say that probably like the second or third one.
The
Yeah,
second one's the
second
best
What
really
about the
one.
last
good.
one when they have spoiler like that whole battle and then everyone dies
I
and then
cried in the theater.
then-
I yelped. I cried.
and then they don't
That's
actually
so
die.
funny.
It was all. It's all.
I know it was
It's
all
a
made
dream.
up.
So
He was
Team
the
Edward.
whitest
You're
people
Team
in
Edward.
the
You're
world.
never Team Jacob.
No, but I did
Do you
meet.
trade?
did
I feel like people trade.
No, I never trade. No,
No?
I was a Team Edward.
Edward
To
forever.
me,
I
it's like a
had-
question of like, do you want a guy who's like emotionally abusive, Edward, or physically abusive, which is Jacob?
My God.
I was just like, that was my interpretation of
uno
seeing
los
those.
dos.
That was like, no, what I'm saying. That was my interpretation of seeing the movie seeing the movie recently. I was like, oh, like Edward is just like the king of gaslighting, but Jacob's the king of being like, don't you dare
Oh my
do
God,
that
is
again.
that why I
He's an
liked
aggressive-
Edward so much? Is that why
Maybe.
I dated only guys who have
Gaslighter?
Gaslighted.
Oh
Is
my
that why all my
God.
boyfriends are like that?
Do you think
Would you
that?
say that is the case?
As we-
because of Edward?
you seem
Yeah.
like that is the case.
That's why.
I want to gaslight you about the gaslight.
do you think you're
Definitely-
like attracted to like
Yep.
okay, you I didn't have to
I
say
know
that.
exactly what
Just
you're gonna say.
shitty.
Go ahead.
Talks. Well, I guess actually, what would you say you are attracted? Like, what is the worst qualities you're
No,
attracted
you
to?
know what? I would say that I used to be really attracted to
To like toxic.
to just like the drama. I
Yeah.
loved the drama, and like anything else was boring to me.
Gotcha.
And I was also always very. I'm not really anymore, but I used to be just a really self-deprecating person and just
Gotcha.
like So yes, I used to, and I've had this spiritual awakening.
Oh yes.
Tell us a little about
when
that.
I turned
Tell
20,
us
when I
about
turned
this.
22, I had like a spiritual awakening, and I was kind of like, hey, maybe your life is like this because you're not changing the things that are like making you
So what made
so
what?
sad.
So what led
No,
to that
that's
awakening?
important.
I went through a pretty bad breakup.
Okay,
I
this is
with-
when you were
with
20.
20, yeah, I mean it like went from like 19 to like 21.
Gotcha.
But it was on and off.
Yeah.
And it was just really it's like definitely my most toxic relationship that I was in.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me.
Yummy.
I need that.
Mm.
Oh, I
What do you-
just love talking
That
about your
shit
sadness.
No, but it really did make me.
Do you think it fucked you up in certain ways?
No, I think that it made me so much better.
That's
Because
good.
you were like,
At the
oh, this
time-
is all the ways I don't want to be treated.
Yes. At the
Yeah.
time,
Was it
it
one of
I mean,
those?
at the time, it fucked me up like really bad for a while after it happened, and then I was like, "Wait, bitch! Like it takes two to tango. You were there too.
Yeah.
Switch it up."
And
like,
do you think you had like do you feel like you look back at moments in your life and you're like, oh, I was toxic in that?
Yes, and that was the scariest part about that experience was then
It brought out your
once
own.
I was going through the spiritual awakening of like, oh, finally getting out of that like, I'm sad, and getting into like, oh no, let's shift the perspective.
Totally.
I kind of realized, wait, you were totally also part of that.
Yeah.
Oh
Totally.
my God. I recently saw I get the chills thinking about it. I saw text recently and I was like, oh my God, I would never in a million years do that now.
Yeah.
And that was 2 years ago.
But that's that's a learning age.
No, completely.
You know
And
what
I think even now I say every day I feel fucking insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, but from 22 to now 23, I have felt so much different.
You are insane.
Every day. I am crazy. No, I am. Totally.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing, but I do totally.
You've always said, and you've talked about how you feel like there's tons of different versions of you. You were talking about this, and you're like, oh, which version is it going to be today?
And I don't even think it's in a how people.
But how would you
joke
paint the
about,
different versions? If you had to really define them, what are the different sides of Bailey?
I would say I'm a pretty manic person. I always have been, but I've always had a love-hate relationship with it because when I am my most manic, I am my most creative.
Okay.
Of course.
How does you being manic? How does that manifest? What do you?
Are you hypomanic?
What do you do? Are you
It's it's so hard to explain. It's actually not. I would say that if I wake up on a manic day, I'll wake up and it'll be I will make a list of probably 18 plus things that I'm going to do that day.
Gotcha.
One.
Yeah, totally.
2, then I get sidetracked and I'm like, no, wait, you have to write that thing that you should write. And then I go outside of my balcony and I'm writing something and I'm like, wait, no, you have to go on a hike. And then I'll go out on my hike and I'll all of a sudden I'll see everything looks really clear. And I'm like, oh my God, everything looks really clear. And I'll write about that and I'll get in this crazy, and I know I'm crazy. And I know that I am going through some sort of psychosis when this happens.
Yeah.
But then it ends and I kind of come out and I'm kind of wow, it's kind of cool you can do that. I have a lot of clarity now.
Totally. Totally.
And so that's why I in high school I got prescribed Prozac and stuff and antidepressants, and then ever since then I never wanted to go back on them because.
And you never have?
No.
And what was your experience of going on? How old were you when you got prescribed them?
I was 15 when I first got prescribed.
And
That's
did you
nuts,
notice any changes to your personality?
It was when I came to Westlake.
You were on them?
I was on them when I came to Westlake.
Dude, we talk about this all the time too, because you've been on drugs since you were little.
I've never not been.
ADD.
Yeah.
All of the
also,
different
ones.
ones.
Also Adderall. I was prescribed Adderall.
Yeah, I was put on. We were the generation of where Big Pharma was ooh, let's just
fucking.
It's hungry.
meth.
It's hungry hippos. They were just
Rolling
yeah.
it
Oh
in
my God!
there.
Side note: I just went to Dave and Buster's, and you know that there's a physical hungry hippos.
Oh,
game?
really?
You get on it, and you
Dude, hungry
That's
hippos.
what
That's as an ad for Dave and Buster's. We'll put this on TikTok.
Dave and
Dave and Buster's.
Buster's.
Hungry
hippo.
You a hippo and hungry? Well, they can go to Dave and Buster's, baby.
We got wings. We
Should
got
I take
chips.
my sunglasses? Oh my God!
Oh, hello. There
Hi.
she is.
Forgot that I was.
There she is.
It's
Hello.
you're wearing your invisibility cloak, and now
Yeah, now you're
it's
visible,
weird.
dude. Whoa. Whoa.
At some point, I will warn that you were potentially gonna flip your hair down, but at
I'm
a strategic
going-
point. And we're not gonna.
I want you guys to realize how hot I am in the middle of the podcast.
And I want you, if you're watching the podcast, I want you, when she takes down her hair, you have to drink.
Yeah, you have to drink.
Yeah.
I don't care what time of day it is.
Yeah, I don't care when. It's just anytime
where
she
you
puts her
are.
hair down, you
I don't
have
care
to
if you're at
drink.
work.
So were you? Okay, so I want to go back to childhood
Yeah.
into Westlake. I want to.
Oh,
I want
yeah.
to understand this period of the Lorena period of Bailey.
Oh yeah,
Because this is that's
that's
the
a good.
that seems like
Yeah,
that seems like a missing chapter in the book of at least what I know.
I think that when people hear the first part of my childhood, they're like, "What the fuck?" And then they're like, "Oh, that makes sense."
You went
So
to
the first-
all girls.
I went to. I
high
started.
school.
I
No,
started
middle
in
school.
kindergarten.
Oh, kindergarten, all girls.
No, not all girls.
So wait,
I
what-
started in kindergarten with Episcopalian private school.
Okay.
Okay, so this is not the preschool you were talking about before.
No.
And when did you move from the valley?
Well, so it was weird. My parents had an apartment in the valley only until I was probably 6 months to a year, and then we a year old. I mean,
Okay.
and then
So you don't remember the valley?
No, I mean I just heard stories. We had a pet snake and a pet ferret.
Ooh, that's
My
cool.
mom left the heater on one time, and they both died in the air ducts.
Really? Wow.
I'm gonna get my mom canceled on. I'm gonna get my mom canceled on this
That
podcast.
is
Not me.
so
Hashtag.
evil.
What's her TikTok again?
Hashtag cancel Maurice. I'm just kidding, Mom. I love you. She's not gonna see this.
Next time, can we
Not
bring her on?
allowed. Yeah, we're gonna
Do you
have
think
her
she should
on.
come on?
She would. I'm sure she would love to come on and talk.
Do you think we could like be like she'd spill all the dirty secrets?
I
I
wanna
think
know
no. I
all
think
the-
that she'd be pretty corporate about it. I
I
think
want
she'd be
her-
very like.
I want her perspective.
Conservative.
I want her perspective on your upbringing.
Yeah.
And
Oh
see
my
how they
God,
contrast.
Me
I
too.
know.
I would
You
love
know
to
what I
know.
mean?
I would love to know.
Your guys is just
What do you
different
think-
realities.
Yeah.
Are there
Very-
certain things like?
Same realm,
Are you and your mom
different.
like? Are you guys close? Like, do you guys like have heart to hearts
We
ever?
hate each other.
I mean, like, does she know? Like, does she know like
God, I hope my mom
super
never sees
secret
this.
stuff in your life, and do you
My
know
mom
super
knows
secret stuff in her?
now because as I've gotten older, I would say that yes, my mom and I have gotten closer.
Okay.
My mom and I were not very close.
Do you
when
think
I
you're
was growing
similar,
up.
or in certain ways?
I think that now that I'm older, I realize a lot of the ways
Oh.
that we are similar, and it kind of makes me be like, oh,
Wh-
maybe you should, maybe you
So
should
you-
reflect.
Would you say you're an optimist?
Yeah.
Is the glass is your yerb half full or is it half empty?
It's half full.
It is half full.
Well, no, it's actually almost.
It's actually
done.
mostly
It's
empty.
like- it's like one
It's like
sip
not half full or
left.
half empty. It's just all fucking empty.
Okay. My best friend is like.
Shout out, what's his name?
At Connor Storg.
What do you want to say about? What do you want to say about? Do you want to give like send one sentence to me? We're gonna have him on. We'll have him on. We'll have him on.
I'll cry.
Do it. Talk. Do it. Talk. Cry. Because he's such a good. All right. So hold on. All right. So hold on. Go back. Yeah, let me check the level. Wait, let me check the level.
One time I was in court and I was with my buddy.
Why?
I got in trouble when I was like younger.
What did you do?
What'd you do?
I brought alcohol to a party and I had to do community
Wow.
service.
I
had to
know,
do
I
community
remember, 'cause you got
service
the job at the Boys and
yeah,
Girls Club,
That's
'cause
how
I
I
had
got
to
my
get a job at the
job
Boys and Girls
at the
Club.
Girls Club. That's how I worked there for years after, because I had to do community service because I was a kid.
It was like a
So, but I had to. Well,
situation where you had to.
I had to do community service.
And then
Yeah,
what, the
I got
neigh-
fined.
Did the
I got
neighborhood
fined.
kids warm your heart, so you ended up staying? At
Yeah, pretty much.
Boys
They
and
were like,
Girls
Nate, you're really good at this. You should work here. And I was like,
That
it was
sounds
literally
like,
that. No,
sounds
literally
like the
what
plot
happened.
To like,
Oh my god, yeah, it was like a 90s
like stand and deliver
comedy.
when he like.
It was more like School of Rock. I feel like when you were
Totally.
there.
It was totally more like School of
It was
Rock.
like School of Rock.
So anyway,
Except
I'm in
for like
court.
you were for like theater instead of
And-
music. You're like a theater
I was
teacher,
there-
School of Rock.
I was the
School of like I don't even know what you call it.
Drama.
School of
Drama.
Yeah.
drama school.
You got in trouble. You were at court.
So I got because we're talking about pussyfooting, and this story
Yeah.
came to mind. And me and my friend, we were I don't know what we were doing. We were being fucking stupid. We were like
Were you-
riffing. I think
were
we
you
were making
pussyfooting
funny.
on-
Yeah, and then the bailiff came up to us and he was like, "Yo, you guys got to stop pussyfooting around right now."
So you have heard the show
And I was
before.
like, I literally looked at him and was like,
It's like
pussyfooting.
Well, it's like I mean, I guess it's like horseplay.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I thought
yeah.
it was kind of like also like the like we're not getting to the like the.
Wait, what is
gist of
horse?
it.
What is horseplay? Like horseplay?
Horseplay
Like
is
Like when
to
you're
goof
when
around,
a
like-
horse like
Oh, okay.
oh yeah, that's what horseplay is.
oh, like horsing around.
Yeah, like horseplay.
Yeah, not
Are you
with
sure
a
that's the
horse.
term? The
Not with a
horseplay.
horse, like-
Horseplay sounds pretty sexual.
I feel like
that sounds like fucking a horse.
it's like
It
ear.
does.
It's like ear
I'm
play.
looking up
Yeah,
what
it's like-
pussyfooting means.
Whenever you add the word "play" to the end of something, I think of like.
Oh, you're right. It's
Sex?
act in a what?
What is
Act
this?
in a. No, I was right. Act
were
in a
right.
cautious or non-committal way. Move
Non-committal.
stealthily or warily.
Yeah, definitely not what we were doing.
Yeah, so I.
yeah,
was
we
right.
weren't pussyfooting at all.
You guys were
I wasn't.
horseplay.
I was horse.
Yeah, we were
playing, and this
fucking-
man.
You were
we
fucking
were horse
horses.
penetrating.
Yeah, we were horse
You guys were
penetrating.
doing ear play.
We were.
Oh my god.
Would you do ear? Would you do?
Would you
Here's the
ear
question.
play
would you
to
do ear
a
play with a horse, or
that's
Horse
that's
on you or you to the horse?
yeah, you to the
horse
horse.
on me.
Have you ever been one of those people who's
Horse
like, oh, I
on
want to fuck a
me.
horse? Like, are you like?
Am I
is-
one of those people?
Yeah.
If I was, do you think I would admit it right
No,
now?
you wouldn't. But you're not.
That is 100% a yes. She is. That is a full yes.
Yeah, that wasn't a
Yes.
good. That wasn't
That's
a
a
good
yes.
way of like trying to hide it.
That's how,
If I did, I
Alright.
wouldn't say.
that's how I'm gonna avoid any
Did
questions.
you ride horses
my
as a
God.
kid?
No, actually, my.
How do you feel about horse girls?
I think
Hot
that
or
horse
not?
girls are hot now.
Hot, so
For
hot.
sure.
And what is
hot
the exact
now.
definition of a horse girl?
Girl who
So
rides
I-
horses,
so-
but it's like
so
a whole
I
stigma.
went
It's like
to
a
school-
subculture.
Yeah.
I went to school with I know I remember a specific girl.
You know the
and
horse girl
I remember
scene.
her name. I'm not gonna
Don't say
say
her
it.
name. Don't
I'm
say
not
her
gonna
name.
say her name, but it was.
That is
You
the
have to cut that
chismoso.
out.
Oh,
You have to cut that out.
Chismoso.
You have to cut
No
that
We'll
way.
out.
bleep it out. How about that? We'll bleep it
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Bleep out her
Bleep it
name.
out. This guy. Do you know what this podcast is called?
Chismoso.
Do you know what that
You
means?
know what it
Yeah, I
means?
got that.
Yeah, baby.
How do you know what that means?
I'm Mexican.
Are you?
How much? How
I'm
Mexican?
Latin.
What
Latinx.
percent? What percent?
How
I'd
much
prefer
Mexican
not
Do you,
are
do you have your
say.
resume on you?
I'd prefer not to say how Mexican I am.
Do you have your headshots on you?
That's racist of you to ask.
Why is that
Why is that
racist?
I was actually answering the other question. I was saying that to the other thing.
Oh,
and then you
okay.
asked me
Oh, I see.
If I've had.
Do you have headshots on you?
No.
Okay, because we're gonna have to at the end of this we're gonna put your headshots at the bottom. Actually, maybe we'll just put the headshot at the
I want
bottom.
to put her. I want to
wasn't
put her
informed that I
headshots from when
needed
she
to-
was a kid, though.
Yeah, I can. Give
I
you
want kid
those.
headshots.
I can give you those.
Can we play one of your commercials?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
I
Well, we'll
have.
do it in post.
Yeah. I have to find it for you, but yeah.
Yes.
Put it
My mom
in
has
the,
it.
in the
So
link
funny.
below. We'll have.
We'll have one of her old
No,
commercials from when
it's
she was a kid.
my mom. They took it all offline, but my mom has it from her Facebook memories. She like recorded the screen, so she has the.
Oh, that's cool.
Wait,
like,
all
hey,
right.
Jewelers commercial. Yeah, go ahead.
I knew it was a jewelry commercial,
Yeah.
but fuck that. Let's talk about Horse Girl.
Oh yeah. So I went to school with a horse girl. I'm positive that she's hot now. Like I just know it. I can feel it for her, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
But when we went to elementary school, she did like for the talent show. She like set up horse jumps, and she got on all fours, and she like
No, stop.
no she
Wait. So
No,
she didn't have a horse
slow.
with her.
no
She
She was
She
the
was the
horse.
horse.
She was literally the
That's
horse
kind of
girl.
avant-garde.
It was. I think she was
Kinda like
ahead. She was
performance
ahead
art.
of her
She was ahead of her time,
Yeah, that's a
definitely.
little-
Yeah.
Because I mean, one
That's
bold of
insane.
you to get up there and do that in front of a fucking room full of
What
the
grade is this?
shittiest aged kids. It's kindergarten through 6th grade. It's a mix of all of those ages.
Oh.
Wow.
And she went up there and she neighed.
No.
Yeah.
And her parents let her do
Our
this.
parents were like there filming it.
Wow.
Oh, I feel bad for the parents.
It's like I would feel bad for the parents.
So this is
too.
like that- that's
also,
like-
if I
that's
was a
like
good
true
mom,
horseplay
I'd be
right
like,
there.
I'd be like,
no, bitch.
maybe
You're
don't.
not
She was doing
that.
like
Just
true
sing a High School Musical
horseplay
song
in a
and
way.
shut
You know
up.
what I mean?
She was. Yeah, she was.
That's like actual horse.
She
play.
was
That's
the
what
horse
she is,
girl.
a horse. She was doing.
horse girl.
She's performing a horse
She
play.
invented horseplay.
Yeah.
She's a pioneer of horseplay. Okay, so watching this talent show, did that inspire you as an artist?
I personally, there was no, since I went to like at a religious school, like,
Yeah.
there was
Yeah.
only a winner every year, but I was the winner.
Were you religious as a child?
No, I did give into the peer pressure though. Like when I got to Lorena, I definitely was like, maybe I'm Catholic, and it's like, bitch, what? No,
So
you're
did
not.
you like
Yeah.
what was in your most religious period? Like what were religious things religious
wanted
Bailey
to
might have
get-
thought?
Did you
I
have to
wanted
go
to
to-
get baptized when I went to Lorena. I wanted to be baptized.
And
Catholic.
were you like Jesus will
you-
save my soul?
I don't know what I thought. I think that
Yeah.
everyone else believed in God, so I was like, I was president of my class. I was like, I feel like I should too. I was like really.
Did you believe in heaven
Popular.
and did you believe in heaven and hell?
Yeah, I believed in all of that. I before I got to Westlake, I was adamant about the fact that I was not gonna have sex until I was married.
Haha.
Wow.
Like I could not have gone more opposite with
Yeah,
that.
Gotcha.
that's crazy.
So what do you okay, so hold on.
I've had the
I-
most sex of anyone in the world.
in the
Really?
world?
Wow.
In the world, I've
More
had
than
the most.
porn
How many- how-
stars?
I'm
What?
kidding. I'm kidding. Are you about to ask me how many people I've had sex with?
How many people have you had sex with?
your body
Actually,
count?
you told us that last time.
25. That's a joke, Mom.
You're like searching like you didn't already know the number.
I know, she
you knew the number.
I don't know.
She knew.
25. 25 on the dot.
25.
Yeah.
Wow.
I actually don't know. That could.
That's almost how old are you?
I'm 24 this year.
All right, so that's almost one for each year of your life.
That's how I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I did it.
Wow. Ew. Since
Come
when?
on. It was
So
another
tell us-
It was another baby.
Okay, so hold on. So I really actually want to understand.
Well, that makes it okay.
So you guys moved out of the valley when you're like a little
We
baby.
moved with my grandma.
You
my
moved with your
parents
grandma.
got divorced. My parents got married in my grandma's backyard. Divorced when I was 2.
So you don't remember your parents ever being together?
No, but I do have like flashes of like PTSD of like the trickling effect of the divorce. Like
Okay.
definitely remember witnessing when I was really young, witnessing a lot of phone calls, like screaming matches.
Oh,
Okay.
classic.
So-
Classic
Reverse
classic kid
divorce
of it.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh, totally, dude.
Yeah.
Can you do me a
feel that.
favor?
Yeah.
Can you just peek over and make sure it's still?
Why are you
I'm just,
making
I'm
her
so
do
fucking paranoid about it because nobody's sitting there watching it, and if it's not, like, is it red? Yeah, we're good. All right. Anyways, I'm very paranoid about this because I'm not there to monitor it. All right. Regardless. So hold on. So okay. So divorce. Bad divorce. It was a bad divorce.
I think it was.
I mean, it was.
My
Was it
parents
very
were
much
so
needed?
young. Yeah.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
weren't. I mean, they were so young when they got together. My mom met him when she was like 16 because he was friends with my uncles. My mom had 5 brothers, so it was like inevitable that I'm sure she was gonna date one of her, and then it ended up being my dad, and they were together since she was 16, and then, I just didn't. They went through a lot that would test a relationship and make or break it, and it broke it. Like,
Totally.
it didn't
Yeah.
work. I don't think that my parents are. I don't see how they were ever together. I don't see how they ever made sense,
Yeah.
at all. So I don't know.
So then when did? Okay. So your parents got divorced.
Yeah.
Then what happened?
I started going. Well, we moved with my grandma,
Okay.
and then I would say at around this time, my uncle passed away when I was like 4 or 5, and my mom left. And I stayed with my grandma, and my grandma put me in Episcopalian school, private school. She was like, "I'm gonna take care of you for now." My mom was really affected by my uncle's death, and she needed to go off and do her thing, and she did.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was like, obviously a kid that was like, my mom's leaving me.
So how old were you?
Yeah.
What was the age you were when she left to when
I
she got
was, like,
back?
4 or I was like 5 because I remember I was like going to ballet that morning, and I had my little ballet uniform on, and I was like holding the stairwell, and I was like, "Don't go!" Like so dramatic.
Oh,
I mean, I'm like, I think about it now.
That's
and
not
it's like,
dramatic.
It's not dramatic.
Like,
accurate.
that's what was happening.
Yeah,
and it's
totally.
Like,
Do you think she has any regrets about doing that?
we've never talked about any of that.
Do you think
Any of that
would it
part
be
of her
weird?
life.
Would it be weird to address it if you were like, "Hey, mom, like
At this point, it's like I don't even need to.
it's just like
I'm
it's
just
like
so-
it's like we're past
I'm
it."
so zen about that situation
Totally.
now, that
I
I'm
get
just
that.
like,
Yeah.
I'm just so not. I don't need to confront it. And
Gotcha.
And my mom's been through like.
So there's like an unspoken kind of like you guys have made peace with it.
My mom and I mean, we just never really were like very confrontational, anyways. Like I didn't tell her when I had my first kiss or like first time or anything, or like didn't ask her about like
Who was your first kiss?
Jack Wilgus. Shout out Jack Wilgus.
Who's Jack Wilgus? Tell us about Jack Wilgus.
He
Was
was
it a
best. We went
Was
to
it a Wilgus?
kindergarten.
Was it a wheel kiss?
It was all wheel.
Was
we
a
went
wheel
to
kiss?
kindergarten through 6th grade together, and he was like my number one childhood crush, my first childhood crush.
Oh, that must have been a really triumphant
Well,
moment
it
when
was
you guys
because I
kissed.
was in 8th grade when I got my first kiss. It was
So it was like the
We had
culmination.
gone- yeah, I went to Lorena. He went to Chaminade.
It's like such a
And
movie.
he invited me to a football game, and at that football game, I went with my friend Claire Bashara. Shout out Art Bish, another person. Shout out Art Bish, she's incredible.
Fuck yeah.
I went to a football game.
Fuck yeah, Arc bitch.
Fuck yeah.
It's Bish,
Yeah.
Oh.
Bitch.
not Bitch. Her last name's Bashara.
That's
Interesting.
Yeah. But at that football game, a guy, I saw my first penis in person.
And how was
In
that
real life?
experience?
Like the guy just came up and like I guess
just
someone
flashed you?
someone told him that we went to Lorena. Like one of our friends who had gone to Lorena for a year and then went to Chaminade. We met her there, and she was like, "Oh, these are my friends, blah blah blah, from Lorena. They go to Lorena." He was like, "Oh, they go to Lorena," and we were like, "Yeah," and he pulled his dick out and showed it to us.
Wow.
Oh,
So at the time you were like, "Oh, ha
His
ha
name was
ha."
Diamond.
Diamond? Oh, he had a,
So
he had
he
a
was
diamond in the rough. Put a ring on
hashtag
it.
horseplay, man. Seriously.
Holy shit.
That was my
Diamond?
first kiss, and it was after the football game.
And how did it? So what was the lead up to the kiss?
Oh, it was so. I remember being so awkward because it was. We were like.
Did you know
all
you
of
guys
our
were gonna
friends-
kiss that night?
Yeah, I think we'd been talking we'd been emailing.
Ooh. Email or AIM?
No, emailing.
Oh my
Like
god.
on Gmail, literally Gmail, like
That's-
sending separate emails, like
that's
literally.
nuts.
Yeah, no, that's my first time getting in trouble. My mom found my emails with him.
Were you guys saying
And
like
she woke
scandalous
me up.
shit?
She woke me up in the middle of the night. It was a school night. She woke me up, turned my lights off, and it was so scary. And my stepdad came in the room too, and he was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "No, it was just like really intense for our age, and just like."
Yeah.
Me talking about like, oh, I'm gonna leave Lorena and like come to Chaminade.
Oh,
like,
so
all
it was
this
more. It was
stuff.
more like it was less
Just,
sexual,
like,
and it was more
crazy
like.
stuff, like, wait, calm down. And my parents were like, you guys are way too young to be talking like this. Like, chill the
Yeah.
fuck out.
Did you? So do you feel like he was your first like? I want to use the word. Well, I guess I say. What were your what all your? You've been in love.
Yes.
How many times would you say?
I would say honestly twice.
Okay, and what? And
I
Oh.
don't care.
Oh.
You don't care.
What
You
was
guys
that?
just
What was
asked.
that the reaction?
no, I was trying to think of my next question. It wasn't a
So
judgment.
you've been in love.
But
Yes.
but this was your first.
He was my, I think,
Infatuation.
Yes, very much an infatuation.
Yeah.
Very much like, literally wrote like.
What is he doing
my
now?
last,
Yeah,
like-
where's he now? Jack
We've
Wilkes?
kept in touch like since then. We're still friends. I see him like probably like a few times a year.
Oh, that's
Sometimes.
Where did he
Sweet.
go to high school?
We used to shop on.
So he's okay. He
Yeah,
stayed there.
yeah, and he's
So he
he's
never
a
went
great
to
person. His whole
Lorena.
family, like
He
I
still
love
lives in
his
California?
Parents, like yeah, he has a great girlfriend. They're like very. I've never met her, but they seem like very much like a perfect match.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's
So-
sweet.
But he's also just a person in my life that I've always just like had a love for. Like,
That's good,
You know,
yeah.
But I grew up with him, you know. But no, I wouldn't say that was my first time being in love. I knew my first time being in love. It was very like
Yeah.
distinct.
Real.
Well, yeah, because it hurt and it
Yeah.
was great.
Yeah.
It was the best time ever and the worst time ever, and I knew that.
That is.
It's like
that
Tale of Two
is love.
Cities.
Yeah.
That is
Best of
love.
times, the
Yeah.
worst of times.
It
Yeah.
was.
And
It-
then yeah, I wouldn't say that I wasn't in love with my second boyfriend, and
You
I
think-
was in love with my last.
Do you think being in love makes you a better artist?
Totally.
Yeah.
That's how I realized that I could write really well when I was going through that first relationship and that first love. That's like when I first started writing, and I was like, I remember sitting back and being like, oh, this is actually not just like my journal anymore. This is like actually good. Like people will like read this maybe. And then I got a poem published in like a random literary magazine in New York. when I
Where
was, like,
can we find the
15.
poem? Is there anyone who can find it?
God, if I remember that poem, like I would hate reading it now. It was called like the Fadeout, and it
Ooh.
was like the whole thing was about like like how life is like the lost art of songs fading out. Like
Interesting.
modern day songs kind of just end abruptly, and it was like
Right.
the lost art of a song fading out, similar to life. And I like made this like
Oh, that's cool. I
That's
feel
cool.
like
was, but it was so. I read it again like a few.
Was it kind of
years-
emo?
It was just very yeah.
course,
It was
of
super
course it
emo.
is.
Were you-
super duper?
But that's fine,
But-
dude. At
but
that
yeah,
age,
but at
dude,
that
like,
age,
of
yeah.
course.
You're supposed to be emo
course.
at that age. If you're not
Yeah.
emo at that age, then
No,
like,
then what
are
you're
you
not-
are
then
you
you're
even really that
boring.
age?
Then you're boring, and your life's
Yeah.
gonna be boring.
Yeah,
Your life's gonna be very
exactly.
boring.
Exactly.
I feel like yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's also just like a weird thing to like have glorified at that age. It's like, oh, you don't cut yourself.
I wanted
You loser.
I
never
wanted
cut
to
myself.
brag about being clinically depressed so bad to everybody.
I
Yeah.
know.
Like,
I know.
why?
Why is that a thing?
Why?
I know.
Why did I
so
want to
weird.
showcase that? Like, oh,
So
gotta take my
weird.
Prozac.
Well, I guess that was a question. Do you feel like it was like a way for you to make peace with it yourself in a way? If you're
A
like,
little
oh, if
bit.
I could
I
turn this
think-
into like a cool thing, then it's like it's less of a whatever you want to call it, a burden to bear.
That's
or-
a really, I mean, that's a really good point. I mean, I definitely do that in general with life. Like with my trauma, my defense mechanism is totally humor, totally like this
Yeah,
is
of
a cool
humor
thing.
and
This
just
is
Yeah.
like I'm gonna
doing it
own
for the
I'm gonna own
story.
it.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
good content. So I
Totally.
think that was definitely part of it.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, in general, I just like had always been really aware of my depression and anxiety throughout my life.
And how did like when did you first realize like, oh, I think I might be depressed? Like, was it told to
I
you
was
first,
like,
or were you like, I think I might?
No, I mean I just witnessed it so much growing up that
You
I
witnessed a
I
lot
just
of-
I was my dad suffered from depression. My grandma has really bad depression. My mom, has a few things. I don't know exactly what she
I don't know what the
has.
fuck's wrong with her,
I
but
don't know.
she's fucked up.
I don't know. I think that she has certain things like because it runs in our family.
Yeah.
And everyone I saw, like, I mean, there was a lot of darkness and negativity when I was growing up
Yeah.
in my house, just in general. And I think that it was inevitable that I was going to be this way. It was
Yeah.
going to happen.
Do you have any advice for someone who may have be going through a similar situation?
I mean, I
growing
think
up in a broken home.
Yes, I think that it's so easy to get caught in this trap of like, at least for me, I remember growing up and being like, well, how come my friends get to have this, and this, and they don't have to deal with this? Like the cops don't show up at my friend's house on Thanksgiving, like this kind of shit.
Yeah.
And I remember being like so angry and upset that like, oh, this is my life, whatever. And now that I'm older, I'm like, no, like that was your life. Like that was crazy. And once again, I guess it goes back to being like, yeah, using it for content.
Right.
If I didn't experience all of that, I think that I am such a cool person.
Yeah,
I
blessed to
think
be
that
the
I
way
am
you are.
so fucking cool. I think that I
Yeah.
understand people in such a different way than most people do. And I think it really did make me like, I came out like fucking brighter and better than ever because I experienced that.
I mean, that's a great.
I think that's
It's
perfect.
really what it is. I think
perspective
that
to
if
have on it,
if
yeah.
I had come up in like a non-broken home, I don't think that there's a guitar string on my shoe. I don't think that I wouldn't be this fucking cool and fun and funny. I think that I'm a very
So like to young people out there, you would say like
I would say that I
Like-
promise you it's going to make you stronger
Yeah.
than the normal human in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. It's going to make you like just more in touch with your emotions and others' emotions, and I think it makes you a lot more sympathetic
Adaptive.
and adaptive and
Yeah.
Now, do you feel like like growing up, did you have good access to like knowledge about how to deal with mental health in any way? Like, did you have any friends or any mentors in any way, like early on that you were like sort of like,
You see a therapist.
I think I saw a therapist when I was young.
was that a
but
good experience?
It was and it wasn't. I think that back then I didn't really realize what was going on. And it was kind of my I would say, I mean, I'll be honest, my uncle committed suicide. And I think that going through that experience was kind of like a thing that woke me up to being like, oh, this is real world shit. This exists.
This is not something
Yeah.
and
that's
this
like
is not something
yeah.
that's like, and it can happen in your own home.
Yeah.
So I think that's what made me kind of educated on mental, but other than that, no, because my whole family was in it.
Or would you
you
say
know,
you're
they
passionate
were
about
in it.
like mental health and stuff?
I don't think that I'm the kind of person like that. All celebrities are like, it's okay to be okay, like to not be okay.
Yeah.
I hate that shit.
Yeah.
What do you?
I hate it.
But what do you think are like some of the biggest issues in terms of how like
It's
like
marketed.
like especially with kids, like how they do
That's I
deal
mean,
with
I
kids
think
and
I,
with
I
mental
would
health
say that I'm
issues.
super passionate about that because I went through that growing up, and it really did feel like everything was the end of the world all the time.
And like,
It
what are
was
some ways that like
Totally.
I guess like do you have frustrations with like the world around you of like why did this why was this
Yeah.
allowed to happen?
I
kind of
mean,
thing?
I think that
Do you find yourself
when you
saying
say
why me?
when you say, I mean, when you were asking if I'm a nihilist, I wouldn't say that I'm a nihilist, but there are certain things in the world that exist that I'm just kind of like I think
It's
that
hard
a
to-
big
yeah.
part of why kids are having depression at such a young age is definitely because of fucking phones and social media.
Totally.
Not to,
Yeah.
like not to just, I think that's like we beat that one like a dead horse a lot, but
yeah.
that's really what it is. I think that a big part of it was like, I mean, we're the first generation that why are we all depressed so young?
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck?
Yeah.
Because we're just constantly receiving information.
Well, it's also like, do you think humans were like obviously like were we meant to like look at ourselves
I
so
don't
often?
think so. I don't think we're
'Cause it's
supposed
like-
to see
Yeah.
and all
Like,
the
it's-
fucking
like, we have
filters
mirrors,
like
and
mirrors.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
we have mirrors in the back in the day, but now like you can take pictures
you
24/7.
can have
like,
your phone immediately.
it's like
and you're
we are
Yeah,
such
but
a
now it's-
self-aware generation,
it's-
like
but
way
now
more
it's-
than the older
Yeah,
generations.
but now it's so different because like now when you look at yourself, it's not yourself half the time with like
It's
Yeah.
not.
filters
It's that's
and,
what I'm saying. It's
yeah,
like you
Totally.
see those filters.
like
and
it's not. Yeah.
I
like,
think that's a big part of it. I think that.
self-identity is like
Yeah,
wrecked.
and don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm very self-aware now, and I'm like, wow, I'm so glad that I went through that stuff. But of course, part of me sometimes is like, my life would be a lot easier if I wasn't a person that had a chemical imbalance.
yeah.
Yeah.
Of
You
course,
know, like,
totally, dude.
Of course, I think about it
Yeah.
sometimes, and I'm like, or it could be nice to not have that.
Totally.
Because I do have. I mean, I have friends that didn't go through that stuff, and they're fucking awesome, and they
Yeah.
are really creative too. And I
Yeah.
think that happens as well. But
And they're also the same. I was joking about this with Nathaniel. We both have very different upbringings. Like mine is closer to yours,
Right,
shitty,
right.
and he has a way better upbringing. But we're both the same fucking
no,
ridiculous,
completely.
fucking,
You
like,
guys have
like,
the same.
like
Yeah,
awful
I think
people.
I think that also happens.
You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
know. I think I think
there's
when
no-
it's hard when you're a kid. You kind of accept what's around you as sort of like this is normal, and then when you become an adult and you talk to other people and you hear other experiences, it's when you're kind of like, oh wow, like
yeah,
maybe this wasn't normal, or But I think but it sounds like you have a very healthy perspective on your childhood.
Yeah, I didn't used to. This is a very
Okay.
new thing.
So
This
this
is
is
very much a thing that's
part of your
happened-
spiritual
This
awakening.
is, no, that's what I'm saying. It
Yeah.
happened in the past 2 years.
Okay,
That's
gotcha.
great.
I was holding a lot of resentment in my heart still. Like,
Gotcha.
In general.
And how did you
like-
what was the process of like letting that go? Like, did you
Yeah,
feel like it
I
was
was just
consciously
like
like you're like I have to like forgive people?
I don't
or?
like to say that. I mean, I like to. I mean, a big. I mean, I did it on my own. I would say, but there were definitely a lot of outside factors. I think that exiting that toxic relationship, because I would have stayed in it if it didn't end. I definitely would have stayed in it, and I could see the person I would have become. And I think that realization kind of made me be like, oh my God, you were like, I think I'm a very strong person, and even I was able to stay in something for like that long.
Totally.
And then you look at people, and you're like, oh, why don't they just leave? I didn't like, and so
Yeah.
I think that going through that thought of like process of just like, wow, the past 2 years of your life, you kind of just like weren't yourself.
It's easier said than.
Yeah, it's totally. And I
So
didn't
much,
feel like
like-
myself, and I think that I came back into my body again when that happened.
Totally.
Yeah.
After the breakup, and I was like, whoa, I was beating myself again, and I was
Yeah,
like, all
that's
these
amazing.
things were lining up. And then I think getting into my last relationship that ended in October, I think that taught me like the most, like it really did truly teach me like how to be loved by a person.
Totally.
That's great.
know?
No, you're an actress,
Yeah.
among other things.
Right.
You've been acting. This
Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
totally has made you a better actor.
Oh
would you
my
say?
God.
Or
like
what?
tenfold.
Yeah.
What?
Tenfold. I think that there's my acting teacher actually said this recently. There's a lot of things that you can learn, but there's a lot of things that you're born with.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And like he was saying, like, not to toot my own horn, but I did a scene recently, and he said that the freedom that I have was something that I was born with, that either I was born with or it was instilled into me from a young age.
Right?
So it's
And I-
inherent.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
think that's I'm such a person, like I have no filter. You guys know me. I have no filter. Like I kind of just, I don't know. I'm all over the place, and I don't know. I feel like that's definitely helps.
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
acting.
Yeah.
Helps
What
with
are you
acting.
What are you working on right now, or have you been
Right.
working
Well,
on?
I just shot a film, an indie film in December called 22, written by the love of my life, Kate Gray Johnson. Look out for her.
Hashtag.
She's incredible, and I starred in it with my best friend Connor Story, and that was a really.
What was the film about?
It's a coming of age story. It's like it's best friends who grew up together basically since like kindergarten, and then around 22 I've had this boyfriend for like 3 years, and I get pregnant, and so we decided to get married. And my best
Wow.
friend is like, you shouldn't, this is too early, you don't need to get married to him.
That's
And we have-
Connor's
yeah,
character.
and we have a fight, and we don't talk for months, and the
Interesting.
movie opens with us talking. Like I'm like rushing into the car, like trying to get into his car, and like we hadn't talked in like months. And it's,
Interesting.
like we share this day together because I need to escape from like my husband.
And where can we see this? Is it out yet?
It's not out yet. It's being edited right now. But
Okay,
it's
cool.
incredible.
It's
It made
hitting
me
festivals,
cry.
right?
Have you've seen it
No, I
already?
haven't even seen it yet.
Okay,
I've
but
only seen like a few
like a
stills.
little tiny- okay.
Yeah, but she's editing it right now. Her friend like works at like Warner Brothers or something, so they're like editing it like
Awesome.
like
Yeah,
legit.
yeah.
And then last time I talked to her, she was looking for it to like submit it to like festivals.
Festival
Cool.
circuit.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then I'm about to be. I mean, Connor's always doing projects and like always, churning out something because his mind is just incredible the way it works. And we're about to shoot something soon with some people in our acting class.
Sick.
What's it like working with your best friend, playing your best friend?
It's
Do you think that's the best or
So,
the worst,
I-
especially based on the scene? I
so
think.
Connor and I had never played best friends before. So when we did, I think that we thought it was going to be really easy, but I think that it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because first of all, our friendship is so specific. I feel like our relationship is such a specific kind of best friendship that it's really strong and bold and like weird that it doesn't necessarily need to carry over to like certain characters, and like because some people are just best friends, like they don't
Right.
need to like have this like crazy, we're both creatives and we're artists.
Totally,
and we're-
yeah.
and-
Totally, yeah.
so I think that part of it was like kind of letting go of the Bailey Connor friendship was a little bit hard for us
Gotcha.
because we're best
Interesting.
friends, but we're like in a different world
Right.
Yeah.
completely.
Another
So
dimension.
yeah, and I think our bond is so strong and just rooted in so much honesty and love that it was weird to like.
Because
It was fun.
the
I
scene
mean, it
is
was-
like, but
yeah.
you guys are having a conflict.
Oh,
in the
we're like
scene, right?
yeah, we're like screaming at each
Yeah,
other, like
yeah.
we're fighting, and like Connor, I do not. We've never fought in our lives,
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think that was a big thing too. Was like, but it almost made it. It was so out of like, it's so like different than what we usually do that it kind of did. It was easy to be like, oh, these are characters.
Yeah.
Like it was so
Gotcha.
easy,
Right,
you know.
right. I recently did a short film with Steve.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing where we're like, our characters, he was like trying to not be my friend anymore,
Right.
and that was like so sad.
Yeah.
Like,
It was,
like
yeah. No,
they'd
it
call
feels,
cut, and I'd be like, "Hey man, I just
it
want you to know,
feels
like I love
weird.
you so much."
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it was weird
That
because
is
Connor and I
difficult.
would like drive to set every day and then drive home together and like
Yeah.
to like rap and then be like, I love you.
Yeah,
like and have
exactly,
these like
yeah,
crazy
100%,
like
yeah.
Yeah, totally.
talks afterwards.
Do you think it brought you guys closer as friends?
Oh yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
remember like we had this we shot at Kate went to Biola, which is like a film school it's like almost 2 hours away.
Okay.
It's like I'm pretty sure it's a Christian school. It's a religious like film school.
Gotcha.
And we drove back that night from wrapping everything. We like finished wrapping and we had like one of the deepest talks I think we've had like
Yeah.
in general. And I'll
That's
always
great.
remember it. And I think that's like definitely was part of.
What was the talk about?
Well, it was mainly, honestly mainly
It's the
about like
chismoso.
he's the reason that I become so spiritual. He is like
Yeah.
very very like
So
into that.
okay, wait, hold on. So how, in what ways would you say you are spiritual? I guess like how would you?
I don't even like to say like spiritual. I would say that I'm just like awakened lately.
Okay.
Like I would say that because like I don't
You're
even
awakened
know,
to the
More
mystical.
I don't even know
connected?
what spiritual would mean.
Yeah.
Yet.
Do you believe in a higher power?
I believe in a higher force. I believe the universe is in control and we're not,
Okay.
for sure.
And
Not even control. I
You don't believe in fate, or do you do believe in fate and destiny?
I believe in fate and destiny as well, but
Yeah.
I just believe in general. I just believe like we personally can't fuck it up. It's like because we don't have. I don't believe that we have any sort of like.
You don't believe in
control
free
over
will?
anything or free will? No,
no free will.
no,
Wow.
So like,
not really.
I believe so.
so like if I punch Nate in the face, like I get.
that was
It's like, I don't have to take
predestined.
I don't know if I
responsibility.
believe like I guess that's like general.
No,
I
no,
would
that's
just
fair, that's
say,
fair.
Like I would just say like I've noticed things like lately in life where I'm just like wow I really like it's really not.
It's all up to you.
And
and that so okay so in what way though like in your spiritual like because you said back in Lorena you were religious but more
But
like
not-
more
but
like
more
you were
like because
it was
the
like part of the
masses were,
yeah it was like
it was pure
it was like being into like
pressure.
skinny jeans like
Yes.
it was like but for you it was like
Totally was
Jesus
into skinny
Really?
jeans.
yeah okay so then you went to Westlake and when did you like
That's where I got wild.
But
Like,
when
that's
did you
where I
reject-
met myself?
Yeah, when did you
I
reject?
guess yeah when did you
God?
reject God
So I already started when I was still at Reina. I was at my last year like 9th grade and I started like kind of like fighting with my religion teachers a little bit and
Okay,
like I
so
got
you
a
were,
little bit
like-
I started sprinkling a little bit and then I kind
Yeah.
of realized oh wow like because I was so good at two shoes. I had like a 4.0. I was president of my class. I had a trophy that said friendliest girl. Like I won a trophy that said friendliest
That's gonna be the title
girl.
underneath you the whole
You're
thing.
shy.
They say friendliest girl. Friendliest girl 2000 and what like 4,
12,
5?
4.
I don't know why I thought
How
that.
old am I?
You're young. How old are you?
So you're the youngest I'll ever be in
How
my
old
life.
were you? Wait, was this
This was
in
like
high
8th.
school?
Yeah, no, this
Eighth
is like
grade?
7th or 8th grade.
Okay, well that's 2008 for me, so
yeah.
I don't know why I thought.
So then- okay, so by-
2005 for you.
so by 8th grade you were already kind of like you were already questioning
End of 8th grade into 9th grade is when I knew I was also gonna. In 9th grade, I knew I was gonna leave to go to public school in the middle of.
And
the
you were
year.
excited to
That's
leave?
when I-
Excited? Were you like
It
fuck
was my
yeah?
idea.
you were
Oh,
like
yeah.
I
I'm
came
I'm
home
tired of all
one
this
day- yeah,
bullshit
I came home one day and I was like, I want to go to school where there's boys. I like don't. That's
That's
basically
what it
what it
was?
was.
That's what
I
it
know it
was?
was. I was so. All of us were so. Dude, everyone
I mean,
was
So sexually frustrated?
fucking
No,
boy
dude,
crazy.
all the girls
well.
that went to
Girls at
your
Lorena?
private school.
I'm
Oh,
sure
Lorena.
they're all the Lorena
They
chicks
got
are
down.
always
We would do the Crespi dances, dude. Girls.
the what
used-
dances
Crespi was
Crespi
the
is
all
another
boys school.
boy, yeah.
I went to a
Um,
football game once, and I remember it was like during the day. We like we had just walked through the gates barely, and some Crespi boy walked by, took his shirt off. Like they're like horned up. They were like
Wow.
like basically it was like what you see, let's go. Like
and the Lorena
boom.
girls were like
and everyone was like oh yeah, like
It was like the
freaking out.
Beatles. It was like
Literally.
all fans to Beatles.
But I was
feel
also like I wasn't even like that. I was so like more like
were you boy
emo.
crazy as a
I
little
wasn't.
kid
I wasn't. Yeah, but
Like,
I
who were
wouldn't.
some of your
I wouldn't
celebrity
say I was boy
crushes?
crazy. I've always been obsessed with love.
okay
Like
yeah,
so
you,
obsessed
we've
with
said
like
that
have
before.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was even boy crazy.
but
it
you
was
were like oh I want to
was-
I have you always had like an image of like your future relationships when you were a kid like oh this is
Oh,
the
yeah.
perfect like did you always like think like oh I know where I'm gonna get married
Yeah.
and, like did you plan your wedding
I had
as a
everything.
kid
I had like all written like in a binder. Yeah, I had like pictures and everything. Now I don't, not so much.
Now you're like-
I mean, and I say that now, I don't know. I'm just such a dramatic ass bitch. I'm gonna want a big ass wedding. Like I'm gonna want to get married one day, I'm sure. If
But
I
like
find the
right
right
now, you're
person.
like,
In life, in general, right now. I mean, in general, right now, I don't want to bring even a child into the world. Like how it is
so
right now.
let alone a marriage.
Let alone marriage.
A man in my life.
I don't want to bring a fucking
The
child.
world's bad for the child, but my life for another man. It's nuts.
I don't know.
Fucking off the
So you're like,
rocker.
I'm in the period of like, I love myself. Like I want to.
I'm in a very reflective, like you almost, but I mean,
This is a new Bailey.
it is because I also, at heart, I'm a romantic.
Yeah.
So always in life, I find something to like right now, I'm very self-love, but I've told you guys, like, I have like a work crush right now. And,
Yeah,
like,
totally.
I'm like, you know, I have a crush, but like,
Yeah.
I would say my primary goal right now is
self.
myself.
Totally.
Because I kind of bounced from relationship to relationship with like a few months in between of freedom.
And you're like, I want like a long period where I can like,
I
figure out
need to
exactly.
I need to be single until I am 110,000 million jillion% ready to be with someone, and the person is like a person I either I'm gonna be with for a long time or like.
a night.
I also don't knock that either. I'm like very much in the party aspect of my party era. Not
Fair
partying
enough.
era, but I'm in a very much era of like I'm pretty, I'm young.
Do your
like,
thing.
I like to flirt with everything
Yeah,
that
that's
walks.
great.
Do your thing.
Yeah. And I'm very much a flirty person, so.
So,
You?
really?
No. Yeah, absolutely.
So when you rejected God in high school, do you remember like distinctly being like, I'm an atheist? Like,
Yeah. Because
when did you?
I remember being like, oh, I'm fucking cool now.
But
like,
you weren't
I'm
freaked
an
out. You
atheist.
weren't like, I'm an atheist. Oh no.
No. I went through, when I got to Westlake, I really did overnight was like,
Fuck this
I'm
shit.
fucking like hardcore.
Fuck yeah.
So then, were
I
you like?
changed
But were you like
overnight.
when you were atheist? Were you like, oh, like after you die, like nothing happens? Like,
Yeah.
it's
And now
forever.
I've changed my opinion.
So now, do you
But-
believe in heaven, or do you believe
No, I wouldn't say I believe in heaven.
in, like the transfer of
I think
energy?
I think that we just go up into the stars.
into the universe.
We're, you know, I
We're all
think that
part of the
we're-
universe.
yes.
We're all part of the same matter and,
I
atoms.
but also, once again, yeah, I would say I'm a cynic. 'Cause I'm always battling cynicism, where I'm also like, or you know,
Maybe it's
we're
just
just
fucking-
blackness.
Yeah.
like,
Well, dude, we always talk about this, and I think I recently had a dream about this because we talk about it so often. Like, imagine your consciousness stays alive, but your body shuts down.
See,
That's
that's
almost worse,
fucking
right? The
terrifying.
Yeah, would you rather? I think I
I
asked you
feel
this
like
last time. Would
I
you
would
rather
just
live
laugh.
forever, which
Oh,
could
yeah,
mean
yeah,
that
we
like
did
you're
talk
just
about this.
forever in a state of darkness, floating in the universe, or die right now? Which you pick?
That's such a hard question.
It is a hard
Yeah,
one.
that
It
is-
should theoretically be the hardest question.
It's theoretically because
It's like it's the thing that could affect your life theoretically more than.
I would pick live forever.
I mean, I would pick live forever too because
I would pick that too, but the question is like in like 500 million years, are you kind of like, fuck, why did I pick this one?
I always
Well, then it's like,
argue
who
your
cares? You're
bonds.
you're already alive, dude. Like,
yeah,
you're just gonna
that's
be
fair.
alive.
It's just like make peace with it.
you just
I-
have to.
I always
like,
argue
fair.
that like at that point you're beyond human at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not
You're
even a
like
human. You
you
just
are
exist.
a god. You know, you
yeah,
are this. like,
exactly.
But do you
Yeah.
But
So-
okay, so in terms of like,
So fuck that.
let's get into
question.
back into no, but back like into like. So what's interesting is so you went hardcore atheist,
and
then now you're kind of
I've
somewhere in the
pulled-
middle.
Yeah. And I think that
You
part
think
of
you'll go back to
being,
finding God later.
Yeah, do you think
No.
you'll ever be
Yeah.
like,
full circle?
like I'm gonna abstain until
No.
I'm married and like any of
No,
that?
I
Were you
don't.
ever interested in? Oh, you said you were
Yeah,
when you
no,
were
I
yeah.
was
She
not
was
gonna,
absent.
I was literally not going. When I got to Westlake, like the thought of even ever remotely like hooking up with a guy was like insane to me.
Yeah.
And then I did it within the first 2 months I was there. like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
not sex. I just like hooked
Yeah,
up. I
yeah.
had my first like makeout session like
Yeah.
at a party, and I was like, oh yeah, and I was like, oh, people do that.
Yeah. Okay, so you made out,
I made out.
and you were like, not only is God not real, but I'm fucking like I'm fucking making out and shit.
Literally,
Like,
I mean, it was
like-
like a total like immediately I was like, oh, this boy shit is like
yeah.
this
So
is
you were
real.
then you were boy crazy in high school.
Yes.
And like,
And then I mean, I was yeah, and then I fell in love, and I think
but
that,
never girl crazy. You said you're bi curious, but not like never. Have you ever had a crush on a girl?
Yeah, but I'll always say like I wouldn't even. That's why I only would say I'm like bi curious.
You don't think you'd pursue it?
I don't know. I could see myself one day, probably maybe being in love with a woman. I'm gonna be honest. I think that I like dick too much. I think that I like.
I just
you know,
love dick.
Yeah.
I think that that's more of the motion that I like. The motion of the
Dick
ocean,
Clark?
You know, yeah.
Are you a fan of Dick
I'm a
Clark?
big fan of Dick Clark. R.I.P. Didn't he die?
He did die.
Yeah.
But he died also years
was
before.
100.
He also died years before he died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
he was 100 for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Like,
that was like what watching the New Year's show each year. It'd be like,
every year
it's
it'd be
like,
like,
oh,
when
you're
the-
watching
you're
this
gonna,
like thing
it just
slowly.
feel
Just
over,
that was-
yeah.
He is the ball.
Why did they let him? Yeah.
yeah, man. It was.
He was the
though.
ball dropping.
Yeah, but talk about the art of the fade out coming back, man. I mean, fucking Jesus.
That's so
Shout out to
funny.
Dick Clark,
They
wherever
fucking
you may
invented
be.
the fade out.
Wherever you may be. Where do you
Um,
think Dick Clark is right now? Then,
Yeah.
like, what in terms of your
He's-
spiritual
I don't
beliefs?
know,
in
dude.
the
He's an old white dude. He was probably awful.
Yeah.
Like,
So you think he's getting
he was
getting
probably
some horseplay in hell right now? But not in the good way.
I bet you he was grabbing asses.
No,
I bet you he was.
He probably
dropping-
was, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a different
It
time.
was a different time. My
Totally.
grandfather is like totally. I mean, I'm sure your grandparents are both in that realm.
Would you fight in a war?
No.
Do you believe in war?
No.
Ever? Never a good reason? Do you believe that there's ever a good reason to kill someone?
No. Well, easy.
As punishment.
I will. I mean, there's scenarios where I would fuck. I would not care if I went to jail. There's scenarios where I would completely kill somebody.
Like, would you do it for love?
no.
I would
You're
do
like-
anything
I
for
would
love,
do
but
it.
I won't do
It-
that.
It's
What about, like,
always
if for your
scenarios-
child
It's
or
scenarios
something?
that have to do with, I mean, like my sisters or like Connor getting
Okay.
like
So people that you
Hurt
have
or
like a
anything.
deeper than love
deep,
for.
yeah,
It's
like,
like deeper than
more of-
love.
yeah.
It's the one you don't even have a word for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
totally.
I would kill.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's certain times where like
I believe in that. I do believe that there
People
are
should
like deep.
die.
There are things that are like deeper than love. That
way
are like
deeper.
that are like because love is such a like everyone knows that kind of. And I guess maybe you could say these are just other forms of love,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I feel like that is a thing where you can have like feelings towards things that it's like it's impossible to express in words how much they mean to you.
Completely. And that's why like when you asked me earlier like describe that's like
You can't
I
even
have
do
a whole,
it.
I have like lists and lists in my phone about stuff I feel about Connor. You know.
Can you cry in command?
One.
Yeah, can you cry right now?
I mean, I can
That's
cry.
the second time we've
It's
tried
like
to
ki-
force
yeah,
her to
you
cry.
yeah. Right when I got
First
here.
and not me. Cry, god damn it.
If I emotionally like prep, I can do it. Yeah, if I sit there for a second.
How long do you
Yeah.
need?
I'm not gonna do it on here.
Oh
I'll do
my
it. I do it a lot when I'm.
Do you need
like,
us to leave the room?
driving. Yeah.
We'll leave the room.
Yeah, I should
We'll
talk.
leave- We'll leave the room and you'll sit here and just cry on camera. Then we'll come back in and we'll just act like it never happens.
So weird.
No, I.
Anyways,
Oh my
all right, we
God.
probably should
I
wrap
think
this.
We're gonna wrap
Yeah,
this
we're
up.
gonna end it
On that
On that note,
On that note.
do you have anything else you want to say?
Yeah.
What is your
No,
what is
I
your
hope this was interesting. I don't know.
what is your what do you like? What do
What's
you
your
want?
thesis
What do you want to
after-
be remembered for? What is like the one thing you want to like? If there was like right
World.
Bailey Tait was remembered for the next thing she says. What do you want that thing to be? Like, what is your life? What's your life motto?
thesis.
What is it? What is your thesis? What is your thing
what I'm
you
saying.
want to
What's your
say?
Fuck it, we ball.
Fucking we ball.
There you have it, everyone.
That is Chismoso Podcast,
Boom.
episode 3. Thanks for fucking listening all this time and watching.
I'm Stephen Armstrong.
And I'm Nate Adamski.
And I'm Bailey Tait.
And this is Chismoso. Don't forget to like, comment, and
Yeah.
subscribe.
I'm also
Thank you
not-
for listening.
Kisses.
Should I tell him not Stephen
No,
Armstrong?
you're Stephen
I'm Stephen Armstrong.
I'm just kidding. This is
Love you
No, I'm
guys.
Stephen Armstrong.
alright.
Kisses.
Much love. Thank you
Mwah,
for
mwah,
watching.
mwah, mwah.
Bye.
How did I do? How did I do? Do they love me? Do they like me? That was fun, guys.
Chismoso. 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 Chismoso.